Most people are going to be stuck being a freelancer forever. And the problem with that is that you can never scale, you can never get out of doing all the work yourself. But if you want to move from freelancer to agency owner, there are 7 things that people are doing wrong. And I see this all the time because as an agency owner with 30 employees, I hire freelancers to do things for my agency from time to time. My customers ask me advice and feedback on different freelancers they think they need for their business. And I used to do freelance work for businesses before I got into an agency growth mentality. So, what I'm going to break down for you here, because I see a lot of people on TikTok, YouTube, all that, who are freelancers who want to figure out and have a dream of owning an agency one day with different departments, different people who do different things, but cognitive biases limiting them from ever making the leap from a freelancer to an agency owner. There are some big differences. There's a quote I read before that I loved that was like, you've got to be the change, right? You've got to be that thing before you are that thing. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I've learned about how to operate like an agency owner as opposed to a freelancer, the big differences, and why I think Mighty Sites is honestly your path to make the shift and transition from where you are to owning an actual agency, local marketing agency, which is everything I talk about in this channel. I'm trying to help you do. What I see with freelancers is freelancers get hired to do something hourly, right? So if you are a freelancer, whether that's digital marketing, Google ads, whether you're a do-it-all, jack of all trades type person, you're going to go to the business, you're going to sell your hours to that business, and then you're going to charge them. So it's like, hey, I need help with this. I charge 40 bucks an hour, 35 bucks an hour to do that. I'll do your graphic design, whatever. I'll just bill you at the end of the month for what I did. That's going to keep you a freelancer forever. And that's how most freelancers operate. That's the number one biggest problem. But stick around because 6 and 7, I think, are the sneaky problems that maybe are the most important. But here's the difference. When you want to decide to make that shift from freelancer to agency owner, you have to stop selling your hours for whatever it is that somebody wants to hire you for. And you have to create a product of your agency. So my agency does not sell our hours at all. That might surprise you. We don't do billable hours. We have 1,000 customers in all 48 of the 50 states, Canada, the Caribbean, Mexico, nobody in Europe yet, but we don't sell hours. We've productized our service offering. What I mean by that, it's this much a month to execute this thing for you. That solves their problem, but it's not anybody's guess what that thing is. Hey, come in and fix this and I'll pay you hourly. How's that good for anybody? Because you may or may not be the best person. It might take you 10 hours to solve something. Somebody else could solve it for the customer. Then you're just selling your labor. You can't ever get out of it. So that's why you've got to productize what you're doing and sell services that solve and execute a specific problem or service on a recurring basis. That's why I talk about selling Mighty Sites for $50 a month. You get charged $9 for Mighty Sites, you charge them $50, there's $40 a month. You've got a baseline to then sell them services on top of that that turns them into a really good customer. So that's first and foremost. Second, you have to think about 3 things, which I see freelancers never think about, which is why they sell their hours in the first place. You have to people, process, and control. People, process, and control. What does that mean? Who's going to do this? Even when you're small and it's just you in the beginning, I get that that's me. What is the process I follow? Where is that documented? Why is that important? Because if you don't have a documented process to follow, then that means nobody else can ever do it because it's all just in your head, right? So even if you productized, but you've never created a clear process that's written down, nobody else will ever be able to do it. So when you want that person to change so you can keep selling and you get a contractor in your business or you get a salesperson or whatever, you can't shift it because you don't have a documented process. You've got a new person, they follow the process, but oops, they don't know all the things that you know, so they made a mistake. The control is how you catch it. Are you checking their work afterwards? Are you sending client NPS scores afterwards? What is it that you're doing to control and make sure that things aren't happening wrong or broken and you never find out about it? Really critical. All right. Number 3, clear customer expectations means a prospectus and a contract. I know you might think I got a great relationship with this customer, whatever. That's great because you two work well together. Nobody else can transfer that. If they get a new store manager you start working with, it may not be great anymore because misaligned expectations. If you try to hand off that business to somebody else internally, it may not be great anymore because you had the working relationship with the owner. Nobody else knows how to do it. So The problem for you is you need a prospectus and a sign-up form that is very clear. Now I'm going to have my agency starter thing. This channel's new. I'm putting it down below. Just email me for now and I'll send it over to you when it's ready. If you're watching this video and I've already got it there, you can click on, put in your email, however I set this up, and you're going to get the agency booklet on what to do to start your agency and make a six-figure agency for yourself, local marketing agency. I'm also going to include in that the prospectus and sign-up form so that you can have something to go off of to customize for yourself. What does that mean? It means you have a clear documented thing of what you're doing with that company. So new person, new hire, you trade it off, review it. Hey, here's our contract with this customer. It's signed. If you're one of those people that's scared to sign a contract with customers, you're like, shake hands. Like, I don't need to have a contract in place. We all know what we're doing. Great. You're set up to be a freelancer forever because that relationship will fall apart eventually. And when you can't transfer customers to the people that you hire without relationships falling apart, that means you can never do it and you stay a freelancer. That's fine. Nothing wrong with being a freelancer, but you're watching this video, you probably want to figure out how to be an agency owner. All right. Number 4, I don't go on job boards. We've never gotten any business off of job boards because when job boards, you're just bidding again on that hourly structure. Like, what do you want me to do? That's not how I run my business. I have products, productized services that we will offer to you that are really stinking good for my target market. Oh, hint for number 6. But instead of waiting on job boards, what you need to do is with those productized services that you have, you need to get out there in real life. That's going to be important. My business, we go to trade shows and we go locally to businesses to call on them and we call them over the phone and we introduce ourselves and see if they're interested. We've tried like email, all that stuff. It's never worked for us. Maybe it works for somebody else, but didn't work for us. So what I'm going to say, get out there in real life. Talk to your customers. Over the phone counts as real life. In person in their business counts as real life. A trade show counts as real life. Talk to your businesses, your potential customers in real life. If you want them to become customers and you want to sell them a product, go talk to them in real life. Don't rely on sitting behind job boards bidding. I know it sounds appealing because, this person's already interested. I don't have to sell it. If you don't want to sell anything, you shouldn't be in business in general because business is all sales, but you definitely shouldn't be thinking of how you become an agency owner because it's going to be selling all the time to strategic partners, reselling customers, selling to your staff on your vision. It's sales, right? So doing that in real life is the most effective way to do it. All right. And number 5, and the big ones are coming up in just a second. You try to know everything. This one's obvious, right? I don't know everything, right? Our agency does Google ads, local inventory ads, websites, e-commerce. What else do we do? Email marketing, reputation management, all of those things. I'm not the best person in my business at any one of those things. There are people better than me at doing all of those things because I don't need to know everything. I need to get great people in the business doing the thing that they're good at, and I need to get the heck out of their way and let them do it. And then I need to have a control in place to make sure that they're doing great, correct it if they're not, find a different person if they're not. That's how you need to operate. All right. That might be a little down the road, but it doesn't have to be because you can start networking with other contractors. And if you get the business, you can say, but I think this person's really going to be better. I'm going to subcontract to them as long as your contract allows that. And who knows, they may become an employee one day, but that's how it works. Now in 6 and 7, I promise you this, biggest thing I see, freelancers don't know who their customer is. They think their customer is anybody who will pay an hourly rate to do that one service. That's going to keep you a freelancer forever. I know who my customers are for each one of my businesses. On my largest agency component side, it is people who own independent retail stores in suburban or rural markets. That's it. It's a pretty big market. It's niche. We have a really, really good product if you fit that customer demographic. We don't have a really good product, at least in that business, for if you have a massage business. Doesn't have a service for that. Mighty Sites does. So good for you because you can walk in there and build them a Mighty Site that's going to be really effective for their business. But do you see what I mean? Where we know exactly who is right for our business. We have a great product for that. And we know exactly who our target customer is. We get inquiries from people who ask us who aren't our right customer. And we don't take that. I actually had a customer that was paying me $100,000 a year, right? So just shy of $10,000 a month. But the relationship was not productized. They would call me up and say, actually, I have this new thing I want to do. Can you do it? And it would change all the time. and I fired that customer. It was a huge chain of pet supply stores. I got rid of them and I said, we can't have that customer. It felt crazy because all that was basically income. But after 18 months, we were in much better shape because all of my time, which should have been spent growing the agency, productizing our services, getting more customers profitably and scalably, was sucked into trading my time for doing these tasks for this customer. And I also hear people say, oh, I'm just going to do a really good job. I'm trying so hard for these 2 customers. Great. How is that scalable? You should not have to try so hard and pay attention to everything to keep that customer and make them happy, because you're not going to scale that at all and you're not going to make very much money. What you should be doing is thinking of the product and service that is well defined, that executes their expectations really well, and deploy that and do that for them. That is what's going to give you a scalable agency. And the last one, big mistake I see that keeps people freelancers, you don't know what your scope is. You don't know where you should draw lines in who, let's just say in my instance, they could be a pet supply store, which is my right customer, but instead of going with what I'm offering, they could say, we want to be like Chewy. We want to drop ship from everywhere. We want to ship internationally. We want cheap shipping. I'm going to say that's way out of scope for what I can offer, right? That's not what I'm going to do. That's not what I can help you with. Good luck with that. You're going to need private equity or something, right? And I say that as a silly example, but it's not far off for even the little things where if you don't know your scope of what you offer, are you doing ads and you are doing them high end, super high touch? That's your customer. Are you doing basic ads for entry level people who just need help getting started and to babysit those ads, right? You don't know your scope. If you're just doing anything related to anything for an hourly charge, you're not set up. You need to know what the sweet spot is in terms of the scope. Like for us, like build a website on Mighty Sites. You know that's what you're going to do for $50 a month. You know the scope that entails, linking out to some buttons or bookings, installing how to connect a domain. It's all within a scope of what you can offer, and it's clear for you and the customer. If you were to say, I build a website for an hourly charge, now all of a sudden that person could have you chasing anything they want you to chase as their freelancer for an hour. You could be switching platforms, building things you've never done before that don't work quite right, getting in over your head. That leads to low star reviews for you, certainly not scalable. You can't, not repeatable, because how are you going to find another customer? They're going to all want different things. And it keeps you being a freelancer, trading the hours for that instead of an agency builder. So if you like this video, again, hit like and subscribe. Check out the links below. I'm going to supply those things, but these are some of the mental things that I hope help you if these really sink in. If you want to move from I'm a freelancer in the digital marketing space to I own an agency, these are some of the big shifts that you're going to have to make and how you think about building a business. All right. Catch you in the next video.